I'll never forget the moment I realized my coworker had been systematically destroying my mind for 6 months. I was sitting in a psychiatric ward, wearing hospital scrubs, medicated against my will, when my phone buzzed with an email that changed everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome to the price they paid. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. We post real stories of betrayal and justice 3 times a week. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love knowing this community spans the globe. 6 months earlier, I thought Jessica was my best friend at work. My name is Sarah Reynolds. I'm 34 years old, and until that Tuesday in April when everything shattered, I believed I had finally built the life I'd worked for. 8 years at Henderson Marketing. Every early morning, every late night, I'd earned this. I was good at my job. No, I was excellent. My morning routine was sacred: black coffee from the shop on 5th Street, emails scanned while the city woke up, at my desk by 7:30 before anyone else arrived. I loved that quiet hum of the empty floor, the smell of fresh coffee mixing with printer toner, the satisfaction of solving a client's problem before they even knew they had one. The senior manager position was mine. Everyone knew it. The CEO had told me privately, "You're the frontrunner, Sarah. This is yours to lose." At home, I had David. 5 years together, and he still made me feel steady when work tried to drown me. He'd massage my shoulders after brutal presentation days and remind me, "You're brilliant. You've earned this." I also saw Dr. Patterson every other week, nothing dramatic, just managing the mild anxiety that ran in my family. With medication and her guidance, I had it completely under control. Functional. Stable. Fine. This promotion was everything I'd worked toward. Northeast Division. $2 million budget. A corner office with windows that actually opened. Finally, the validation that I'd made it. I'd finally proven I was enough. Then Jessica Martinez walked into my life, and I thought I'd found someone who understood. She started 3 years ago, bright-eyed and eager, trailing me like I was some kind of mentor goddess. We clicked immediately. Coffee every morning, vanilla latte for me, caramel macchiato for her. Lunch every Friday at the Thai place on 3rd. Weekend brunches where we dissect office politics and share dreams we were too afraid to say out loud in the office. "I don't know what I'd do without you," she'd say, squeezing my hand across the table. Jessica shared everything. Her difficult childhood. Her insecurities about never being good enough. Her fear that she'd never escape her mother's shadow. When she went through a brutal breakup, I held her while she cried in the bathroom. When she met Derek, her boyfriend, a senior IT administrator at our company, at a tech conference, I celebrated with champagne. She felt like the work sister I never had. When the senior manager position opened up, we both applied. I genuinely wanted us both to succeed. Maybe they'd create 2 positions. The company was growing, after all. "We'll still be friends no matter what happens, right?" she asked one morning, steam rising between us from our cups. Of course, I laughed. A job title doesn't change who we are. God, I was naive. If you've ever trusted someone at work who turned out to be playing a different game, drop a comment. You're not alone in this. Looking back, the red flags were there. I just didn't see them. The way Jessica would ask detailed questions about my workflow: "Do you check work email on your phone or your laptop mostly?" The casual mentions that her boyfriend Derek worked in IT. The small tech glitches I brushed off, emails I swore I'd sent that clients never received, meeting times that mysteriously changed in my calendar. Jessica was always nearby when I had those little memory lapses. Always ready with a concerned look and a gentle hand on my shoulder. "You okay? You seem really stressed lately." "I'm fine," I'd say, forcing a laugh. Just a lot on my plate with the promotion interviews. But deep down, a tiny whisper of doubt had started growing. What if I'm not fine? What if something's wrong with me? The interviews went well. I nailed every presentation, answered every strategic question with confidence. The CEO smiled at me in the hallway. Excellent work, Sarah. Just excellent. Then the email started. Small things at first. A client called, confused. I'd supposedly sent them the wrong presentation deck. But I'd triple-checked it before hitting send. A meeting I'd personally confirmed was suddenly, never on their calendar. An attachment that arrived corrupted, filled with gibberish where my carefully crafted proposal should have been. "You've been really stressed," Jessica said one afternoon, her hand warm on my shoulder as I stared at my screen in confusion. "Maybe you need to take it easy. Get some rest?" I laughed it off. "Yeah, maybe you're right." But that night, alone in my apartment, David already asleep, I sat at my laptop in the dark and whispered the question that terrified me. What if she's right? What if I'm losing my mind? The mistakes kept piling up. Week 1, a client forwarded me an email I'd supposedly sent at 2 a.m. The subject line read, "Urgent, need to discuss your account immediately." I stared at it, my coffee going cold in my hand. The tone was paranoid. Frantic. Words I would never use. "I'm concerned about some discrepancies," and "we need to talk ASAP before this becomes a problem." I scrolled to my sent folder. There it was. My name. My signature. My email address. But those weren't my words. I read it 5 times, my hands shaking. I didn't write this. I know I didn't write this. David found me at midnight, still sitting at my laptop, checking and rechecking every email I'd sent that week. "Sarah, you need to sleep." "Something's wrong," I whispered. "Something's really wrong." By week 2, I started documenting everything. A leather notebook I kept in my desk drawer, not on my computer, not in the cloud. Physical proof. I took screenshots, printed emails, kept backup records of every client interaction. Jessica noticed. "You seem really anxious lately," she said, watching me photograph my computer screen with my phone. "Are you okay?" "Just being thorough." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Maybe too thorough?" "You know what Dr. Patterson would say about obsessive behaviors." How did she know about Dr. Patterson? I'd never told her I was in therapy. Week 3, another client called, furious. I'd supposedly missed a deadline, a major presentation deck due Friday. But I'd submitted it Thursday night. I had the confirmation email. I had the timestamp. "Ms. Reynolds, we received nothing," the client said coldly. "This is extremely unprofessional." I pulled up my sent folder, my heart hammering. The email was there. But when I opened the attachment, my screen filled with error messages. File corrupted. Cannot open. Jessica volunteered to smooth things over. "I'll call them." "Don't worry, Sarah. We'll fix this." She fixed it. She always fixed it. And somehow, that made me feel worse. At home, David suggested I was overworking myself. "Maybe you should take a few days off. You're not sleeping. You're losing weight." I couldn't eat. Every meal tasted like cardboard. My clothes hung loose. I'd wake at 3 a.m., checking my email obsessively, terrified of what I'd find. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm not. But the whisper of doubt grew louder every day. Then came the breaking point. The major client presentation. Henderson Pharmaceuticals, our biggest account. I'd been preparing for 6 weeks. Every slide perfect, every talking point rehearsed. This presentation would seal the promotion. I knew it. The CEO, the clients, Jessica, and 3 other team members gathered in the glass conference room. Morning light poured through the windows. I felt confident. Prepared. Ready. I opened my laptop. Pulled up the presentation file. Clicked. My screen filled with gibberish. Lorem ipsum dolor sit emet, consectetur adipissing illit. Placeholder text. Everywhere. Every slide. Every chart. Every strategic recommendation I'd spent 6 weeks crafting, gone. Replaced with nonsense. My hands went numb. Sarah? The CEO's voice sounded distant. Is there a problem? I clicked through slides frantically. My breath came in short gasps. This isn't happening. This isn't real. I don't understand. It was here. The room tilted. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. The walls closed in. Sarah, are you okay? Jessica's voice, concerned, caring. You look pale. I tried to speak. No words came out. Just a horrible gasping sound. Panic attack. Full blown. In front of everyone. Jessica guided me out of the conference room, her arm around my shoulders. It's okay. Just breathe. Just breathe. Someone called an ambulance. I remember that. The CEO's worried face. Jessica holding my hand, whispering, "You're going to be okay." 20 minutes later, she walked back into that conference room with her laptop and saved the presentation. Her backup materials. Her perfect slides. The client was impressed. The CEO was grateful. And I was rushed to the ER, sedated, humiliated, my career crumbling around me while Jessica stepped into the spotlight. HR called me in 3 days later. That's when everything truly fell apart. The HR office smelled like vanilla air freshener and lies. Patricia Taylor sat across from me, her expression carefully neutral. Beside her sat David Martinez, our HR director. And next to me, of course, sat Jessica, positioned as the concerned colleague. Sarah, we need to talk about your recent performance, Patricia began, sliding a folder across the table. My stomach dropped. Inside were printouts. Emails. Client complaints. 15 of them. Erratic communication. Missed deadlines. Unprofessional tone. Paranoid language. I flipped through them, my hands shaking. Half of these I'd never seen before. The other half, the ones I had sent, looked different. Altered. Words changed. Tone shifted. These aren't, I started. Sarah, David interrupted gently, we're worried about you. This isn't like you. Jessica reached over, squeezed my hand. We just want to help. I pulled away. Someone is sabotaging me. Silence. Patricia exchanged a glance with David. That look. The one that said, she's losing it. Sarah, Patricia said carefully, that's a very serious accusation. Do you have any proof? Yes. I have screenshots, I have. The thing is, David cut in, we've checked the server logs. All these emails originated from your IP address. Your device. Your login credentials. Then someone accessed my account, I said, hearing the desperation in my own voice. Someone with admin privileges. Sarah, that sounds like paranoid thinking, Patricia said softly. Given your recent anxiety diagnosis. How do you know about that? I snapped. Jessica shifted beside me. I mentioned it. I was worried. You've been so stressed, and I thought they should know you've been struggling. She told them. She told them about Dr. Patterson. My vision blurred. You had no right. We're mandating a psychiatric evaluation, David said. Company policy when an employee exhibits concerning behavior. Concerning behavior? I'm being sabotaged. The evaluation is tomorrow, Patricia continued, ignoring my protest. Dr. Richard Hartwell. He's been the company psychiatrist for 12 years. Very respected. Jessica squeezed my shoulder. It's going to be okay. They just want to make sure you're healthy. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Her expression was perfect, concerned, caring, sisterly. But her eyes. For just a split second, I saw something else. Triumph. The next morning, I sat in Dr. Hartwell's office. Gray walls. Leather chairs. The faint smell of coffee and old books. He listened to my story with a neutral expression, pen clicking rhythmically. Missing emails. Changed documents. Meetings that vanish from calendars. He wrote notes without looking up. Doctor, I'm not imagining this. Sarah, workplace psychosis is more common than you think. He finally met my eyes. The pressure of competing for a promotion, underlying anxiety disorder, lack of sleep, obsessive documentation behaviors. He clicked his pen one final time. I'm recommending inpatient treatment. 2 weeks. You need rest. My hands went cold. Inpatient? You mean a psychiatric hospital? It's for your safety. And frankly, your career. If you refuse, the company will have to consider termination. I walked out of his office in a daze. Jessica was waiting in the hallway, leaning against the wall like she'd been there the whole time. How did it go? She asked, eyes wide with concern. I couldn't speak. I just shook my head. She hugged me tight. Whatever you need, I'm here. I actually believed her. 72 hours later, I was admitted to Riverside Psychiatric Facility. Voluntary commitment, they called it. But when the alternative is losing your job, how voluntary is it really? The first days blurred together. Medication that made my thoughts foggy. Group therapy where I sat silent, surrounded by people with real mental illnesses. Limited phone access. No laptop. No freedom. David visited, bringing clothes and toiletries, his face etched with worry. We'll get through this, he said, but even he sounded uncertain. On day 5, the company-wide email arrived. I read it on my restricted phone access, sitting on the edge of my hospital bed in scratchy blue scrubs. Congratulations to Jessica Martinez, our new senior manager of the Northeast Division. The phone slipped from my hands. She got it. She got my promotion. My job. My dream. And I was happy for her. Even after everything, some broken part of me thought, she deserves it. She's been holding everything together while I fell apart. That's how deep the gaslighting went. I believed I was the problem. Day 5, after group therapy, Dr. Rachel Taylor pulled me aside. She was young, maybe 40, with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. My assigned therapist. Sarah, I've been reviewing your intake notes. She frowned. Something doesn't add up. My heart jumped. What do you mean? You're articulate. Logical. No signs of psychosis or delusion. Your thought patterns are completely rational. She tapped her pen against her clipboard. Yet you're here for workplace paranoia? I stared at her. Has anyone actually verified these emails you're talking about? The ones you supposedly sent but don't remember? Nobody had checked. Not HR. Not Dr. Hartwell. They'd just taken the evidence at face value. Dr. Taylor, I said slowly, my voice barely a whisper, what if I'm not crazy? What if someone really is doing this to me? She held my gaze for a long moment. Then we need proof. Real proof. For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than despair. I felt hope. Dr. Taylor became my lifeline. I shouldn't be doing this, she said quietly during our next session, glancing at the door. But something about your case feels wrong. She helped me get access to my personal laptop, officially for therapeutic journaling. What she really gave me was a weapon. The first thing I did was contact a lawyer. Not the company lawyer. My own. Amanda Reeves. Her practice specialized in workplace discrimination and fraud. I'd found her website at 2 a.m., scrolling through Google results with shaking hands. She came to visit me 3 days later, disguised as a friend, so we could speak privately in the visitors' lounge. I pulled your email metadata from your personal backup account, Amanda said quietly, sliding a folder across the table between us. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Sarah, every single problem email came from the same IP address. Mine? I asked, already knowing the answer. No. She pulled out another sheet. Someone accessing your account remotely. And here's the thing, the timing matches exactly when you were logged into other devices. Someone had simultaneous access. My blood ran cold. Who? The IT logs show the access came from an administrator override. Someone with system privileges. She paused. Does anyone in your office have a relationship with someone in IT? And that's when I remembered. Jessica's boyfriend. David. Not my David, her David. Senior IT administrator. Oh my God. Amanda didn't waste time. She hired a digital forensic specialist, Dr. James Park, a cybersecurity expert who'd testified in federal cases. 1 week later, his report arrived. 184 pages of evidence. Amanda read from it, her voice steady and cold. Derek Taylor created shadow admin access to your email account on April 3, 2 days after the promotion was announced. He used packet-sniffing software to intercept and modify emails in transit. He altered calendar invites. Corrupted attachments. Modified your sent folder contents to make it look like you'd written things you never wrote. I felt sick. There's more, Amanda continued. He installed a keylogger on your work laptop during a routine IT maintenance appointment. March 18. You signed the work order yourself. I remembered that day. David, her David, had been so polite, so professional. Just updating security patches, Ms. Reynolds. Should only take 20 minutes. I'd thanked him. Have you ever trusted someone who was secretly destroying you? Drop a comment, you're not alone in this. They documented everything, Amanda said, spreading papers across the table. Text messages between Jessica and David, coordinating the sabotage. She showed me screenshots. Jessica to David, did you corrupt the presentation file? David, done. Timed for exactly when she opens it. Jessica, perfect. This should be the final nail. David, you really think she'll crack? Jessica, she already is. The psyche eval is tomorrow. By next week, I'll have her job. Face with tears of joy. There was a laughing emoji at the end. They joked about destroying me. My hands clenched into fists. What else? David also accessed 6 other employees' accounts, all people competing with Jessica for various positions over the past 3 years. Amanda's voice was grim. She's done this before, Sarah. You're not her first victim. The room spun. I want them destroyed, I said quietly. Legally. Completely. Both of them. Amanda smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Leave that to me. The lawsuit was filed within 48 hours. 47 pages. Federal court. The allegations. Computer Fraud and Abuse Act violations, David, identity theft, Jessica and David, intentional infliction of emotional distress, Jessica, fraud and conspiracy, both, negligent supervision, Henderson Marketing, wrongful psychiatric commitment, company and Dr. Hartwell, defamation, Jessica. Damages sought, $5 million. We're also filing a criminal complaint with the FBI, Amanda told me over the phone. David violated federal law. Computer fraud. He's looking at 5 to 10 years. I signed every document with a steady hand. Dr. Taylor testified that I showed no signs of psychosis and recommended my immediate release. The facility director, suddenly worried about liability, agreed. On day 13, I walked out of Riverside Psychiatric Facility. I wasn't the same person who'd walked in. I was angrier. Clearer. Ready. The discovery phase was brutal, for them. Jessica's deposition came first. Amanda video recorded everything. Jessica sat across from us, her lawyer beside her, trying to maintain that concerned colleague mask. Ms. Martinez, when did you first access Ms. Reynolds' email account? Amanda asked. I never. Amanda slid a document across the table. Server logs. These show your boyfriend's credentials accessing her account 347 times over 6 months. Jessica's face went white. I didn't know about that. Really? Amanda pulled out her phone, played a recording. Jessica's own voice, did you corrupt the presentation file? Jessica tried to stand. I need a break. Sit down, Ms. Martinez, the court reporter said firmly. Leaving is contempt of court. She sat. Her hands shook. By the end, she'd contradicted herself 17 times. Her lawyer looked ready to quit. David's deposition was shorter. He invoked the Fifth Amendment on every question. His criminal attorney had advised him well. But his silence in civil court meant one thing: automatic liability. His lawyer tried to cut a deal. Testimony against Jessica for immunity. Even the henchman is ready to betray her, Amanda said with satisfaction. The company's HR director, Patricia Taylor, admitted under oath they'd never conducted an actual investigation. We trusted Ms. Martinez's account, she said weakly. You never verified the emails? Never checked metadata? Never consulted IT security? No. Damning. Dr. Hartwell's deposition was the most satisfying. How long did you evaluate Ms. Reynolds before recommending involuntary commitment? Approximately 45 minutes. And did you review the actual emails in question? No. That wasn't necessary. Did you know you receive $15,000 per month in referral fees from Riverside Psychiatric Facility? His face went gray. Amanda leaned forward. Did you know the facility pays you a bonus for every patient you commit? That's standard practice. It's also a massive conflict of interest, Doctor. The evidence mounted like a tidal wave. The company tried to settle 3 times. First offer, $250,000 plus reinstatement. I rejected it. I don't want my job back. I want the truth exposed. Second offer, $750,000 plus public apology. Rejected. Not enough. They enabled this. Third offer, $2.3 million plus policy changes plus independent investigation. Amanda recommended accepting. I agreed, but with one condition. I want Jessica fired immediately. I want a company-wide email explaining exactly what she did. And I want every client she contacted to know the truth. The company lawyer winced. That's going to destroy her career. I met his eyes. Good. She tried to destroy my mind. The settlement hearing was open to the public. I walked into that courtroom 3 months after being released from the psychiatric ward, clear-eyed, professionally dressed, with Amanda by my side. Jessica sat across the aisle with her lawyer, looking smaller than I remembered. No more designer suits. No more confident smirk. Her hands twisted in her lap. David wasn't there. He'd already pled guilty in federal court to avoid trial. 2 years in federal prison. But what I didn't expect was the gallery. It was packed. My former coworkers. Clients I'd worked with for years. Reporters from the local business journal. And in the back row, 3 other women I'd never met. Jessica's previous victims from other companies. Judge Maria Santos entered, and the room fell silent. She reviewed the settlement terms aloud, her voice crisp and clear. Ms. Martinez, the evidence against you is overwhelming. While you've avoided criminal prosecution through your employer's settlement, I want to be very clear. She looked directly at Jessica. What you did constitutes one of the most calculated, malicious workplace sabotage schemes I've encountered in 20 years on the bench. You didn't just damage Ms. Reynolds's career. You had her involuntarily committed to a psychiatric facility for a condition she didn't have. Jessica stared at the table, tears streaming silently. This settlement includes your immediate termination, repayment of your $45,000 promotion bonus, and a permanent injunction preventing you from working in any management capacity for 5 years. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor, Jessica whispered. I can't hear you. Yes, Your Honor. Louder this time, voice cracking. The judge turned to me. Ms. Reynolds, would you like to make a statement? I stood up, my hands shaking, but not from fear. From relief. For 6 months, Jessica made me doubt my own mind. She made me believe I was incompetent, unstable, broken. She watched me suffer panic attacks and encouraged me to see a psychiatrist. She hugged me the day I was admitted to the hospital. I looked at her. She wouldn't meet my eyes. But the worst part wasn't the sabotage. It was the betrayal. I trusted her. I considered her a friend. And she used that trust to systematically destroy me, for a job title. My voice steadied. I'm standing here today because one person, Dr. Taylor, asked the right question: what if you're not crazy? What if someone really is doing this to you? I glanced at Dr. Taylor in the gallery. She nodded, tears in her eyes. Jessica, you didn't break me. You revealed your own character. And now everyone knows exactly who you are. I sat down. The courtroom was silent. The judge ordered the company's CEO to read a statement aloud. We failed Sarah Reynolds. We accepted false evidence without investigation. We ignored clear signs of digital sabotage. We are implementing mandatory IT security audits, independent HR investigations, and whistleblower protections. We apologize publicly to Ms. Reynolds and will contact all affected clients and employees. Jessica was escorted out by security. I watched her walk past the gallery, past her former victims, past the reporters already typing on their phones. She kept her head down the entire time. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Ms. Reynolds, how does it feel to be vindicated? I took a breath, feeling the sun on my face for the first time in months. It feels like I can finally breathe. Amanda squeezed my shoulder. You did it. We did it, I corrected. David texted me from the courthouse steps, I'm so proud of you. My David. The one who'd believed me when no one else did. That night, I drove past Henderson Marketing. Through the glass windows, I could see people working late, unaware that their perfect colleague had been a predator. I didn't stop. Some chapters deserved to stay closed. But this one ended exactly how it should have. With the truth. The $2.3 million settlement broke down like this. $1 million for emotional distress and reputational harm. $800,000 for lost wages and future earning capacity. $500,000 in punitive damages. After legal fees, I cleared $1.6 million. I stared at the number in my bank account for 20 minutes, waiting to feel something. Relief. Joy. Vindication. Instead, I just felt tired. The money wasn't the point. It never was. The point was that someone had finally said, we believe you. This really happened. You're not crazy. I took 3 months off to genuinely recover. Therapy twice a week with Dr. Taylor, now my private therapist. She'd quit Riverside the day after my release, disgusted by what she'd seen. You have PTSD, she told me during our 4th session, her voice gentle but firm. Real PTSD. From the gaslighting, the betrayal, the forced commitment. This time, the diagnosis was accurate. This time, I wasn't being medicated for someone else's crime. The hardest part wasn't the anger. Anger was clean, simple, righteous. The hardest part was learning to trust myself again. Trust my memory when I said I'd sent an email. Trust my judgment when something felt wrong. trust my reality when everyone around me had spent 6 months telling me it was false. Some mornings, I'd wake up and check my laptop 3 times to make sure I'd actually sent a message. Old habits die hard. David found me one night at 2 a.m., sitting in the dark, staring at my phone. "What are you doing?" he asked softly. "Making sure I'm not imagining things." He sat down beside me, didn't say anything for a long moment. Then, "You're not. You never were." 3 months after the settlement, he proposed. We were sitting on our apartment balcony, the city lights sprawling below us like scattered stars. "You're the strongest person I know," he said, sliding the ring onto my finger. I cried. Not from sadness, but from finally feeling safe. 6 months later, I did something I never imagined. I started my own consulting firm, Reynolds Workplace Advocacy. We specialize in helping employees who've been gaslit, sabotaged, or discriminated against at work. We investigate claims, gather evidence, connect victims with lawyers, and fight back. The first client who walked into my office was a woman named Diana. 42, IT manager, convinced she was losing her mind because projects kept disappearing from her work server. I looked at her trembling hands, her exhausted eyes, the way she apologized 3 times for wasting my time. I saw myself 6 months earlier. "Diana," I said quietly, "I believe you. And we're going to prove it." We did. 2 months later, her coworker was fired for systematic sabotage. Diana cried in my office when the evidence came through. "I thought I was going crazy," she whispered. "I know," I said. "I know exactly how that feels. We've helped 47 people so far. 12 have won settlements. 5 cases led to criminal charges against their abusers. The work is fulfilling in a way the corporate job never was. Because I know exactly what they're going through. I lived it." Dr. Taylor partnered with me to launch the Workplace Gaslighting Awareness Project, free resources, support groups, legal referrals. We train therapists to recognize workplace psychological abuse. Companies hire me now to speak about digital sabotage prevention. The irony isn't lost on me. Jessica tried to destroy my career. Instead, she gave me a purpose. Where are they now? Jessica Martinez, 3 years later. Works remote customer service, the only employment she could find. Lives in a small apartment in Ohio, using her middle name professionally. Estranged from her family who were embarrassed by the news coverage. She tried to rebrand on LinkedIn with a new profile. Former colleagues from Henderson Marketing found it within 48 hours. They posted the court documents in the comments. She sent me an email once, 6 months after the trial. Subject line, "Can we talk?" I deleted it without opening it. The internet never forgets. And it shouldn't. Derek Taylor, 3 years later. Released from federal prison after 18 months. Can't work in tech anymore, banned for life as part of his plea deal. Now does manual labor at a construction site. His relationship with Jessica ended while he was incarcerated. She blamed him for ruining everything. He ruined everything. Almost poetic. Dr. Hartwell. Medical license permanently revoked by the state board. Sued by 30-plus former patients who'd been wrongfully committed. Personal bankruptcy. Lost his home. Now works in medical billing, non-clinical. The man who rushed people into psychiatric facilities for profit can't practice medicine anymore. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just complete. Henderson Marketing. Fired the entire HR team. Hired external consultants to rebuild the department from scratch. Implemented quarterly IT security audits. Created an independent whistleblower hotline with third-party oversight. Required independent psychiatric evaluations, no more company doctors with financial incentives. They learned the expensive way, ignoring employees doesn't just cost money. It costs everything. 3 years later, I'm standing in my home office on a Tuesday morning. Sunlight streams through windows that actually open, I made sure of that when David and I bought this place. From the kitchen, I hear him making breakfast. Laughter drifts in from the living room where Dr. Taylor and her wife are visiting. Friends who choose me. Friends who see me. On my desk sits a framed quote I wrote myself, the night I walked out of Riverside. Trust isn't weakness. Trusting the wrong people is a lesson. I used to think Jessica broke something in me that could never be repaired. But standing here now, helping people fight back, building a life that matters, surrounded by people who believe me without question, I realize she didn't break me at all. She revealed what I was capable of when I stopped apologizing for taking up space. I learned to watch for red flags. People who isolate you from others who might see the truth, people who are always there when you fail but vanish when you succeed, people who question your reality instead of investigating your concerns, people who use your vulnerabilities as weapons. Real friends believe you. Real friends ask questions. Real friends don't watch you suffer and call it stress. Jessica wanted to break me. Instead, she forced me to rebuild myself into someone stronger. Someone who knows that the truth is worth fighting for, no matter how long it takes. No matter how much it costs. I found my voice in that hospital ward when Dr. Taylor asked, "What if you're not crazy?" I found my strength in Amanda's office when she said, "We have proof." I found my purpose in every client who walks through my door, trembling and afraid, whispering, "I think I'm losing my mind." And I get to look them in the eye and say, "You're not. And I'm going to prove it." That promotion wasn't meant for me. But this life, this purpose, was. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. To anyone out there who's been gaslit, sabotaged, or told they're too sensitive when they speak up. You're not crazy. You're not imagining it. And you deserve justice. Keep the receipts. Document everything. Find your Dr. Taylor, the one person who asks the right questions. Fight back. The truth always comes out. It just needs someone brave enough to dig for it. And if you're reading this, wondering if your story matters, it does. It always does. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. We share stories of betrayal and justice every week. Drop justice in the comments if you believe the truth is worth fighting for. And remember, your reality is valid. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise.